Japanese for everybody, please, as well.
Yeah.
Mandarin is fine.
好，就蛮早找我同学，但是他现在他突然有事，然后他就找他的优秀的学妹，现在才大一，四大音乐系。
Every tuba player should find a friend that plays the piano. For this exact reason. All right. Interesting piece of music because there's actually parts of the tune where you have the song, and there's a whole bunch of parts of this song that you don't have the melody. He actually just wrote a tuba part. And the piano has the melody. Yeah. It's like the whole last page of the thing, except the last eighth note run. That whole last part, that's the tuba part. The melody's over here. So it's really important to remember that. So most importantly, well, go ahead. You go ahead and say what it is.
这首曲子是很有意思的曲子，因为所有的很多的旋律都是在钢琴上面。那tuba我们所用的东西都是在伴奏它的音型，对 ，OK， 这样。只有到最后几个小节，好像要一次能配入到一次。
It's not in the tuba. It's in the piano.
Yeah. 最很多的旋律都是在钢琴上面。Okay.
Like letter N until the last 3 bars is a tuba part.
那就 N 到最后的几个小节。
4, 4, 2, 1, 5, 5, flat 2, 1. I mean, it's a tuba part. It's not. It's the melody is here.
Yeah.
So my point is, tuba players, euphonium players, instrumentalists in the room. If you're not looking at the piano part until you get to that first rehearsal, you're missing out on a whole bunch of ideas about what might be happening with function, especially a tuba solo. Because a lot of composers have no idea how to write a melody that goes the whole time. So they opt out and they start writing tuba parts in the middle of a solo. It happens all the time. Don't make me name famous tuba pieces that do that. But there's a ton of them where the composer's like, oh, I think I should just have a tuba part here. And it's like, wait a minute, it says concerto.
Yeah.
So this is one of them. I don't mean it's a bad piece. This is beautiful. But there's some really important parts where we got to realize that you're playing, that the function of the solo is not a solo anymore. So you should be serving the piano in certain parts. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. 好了，帮大家融会一下，就是说他讲说很多曲子呢，你一定要去找钢琴的部分来看，因为很多作曲家他可能不会写低音的旋律，然后他讲的很生气，不知道为什么，就是说不会写低音的旋律都把它插在中间里面哦。然后其实很多的东西都是在钢琴的旋律上面，所以我们吹杜巴呢，如果吹一首曲子的话，一定要去研究，就要看整个图形。讲简单就是看你整个图形，是这一段旋律，还是这一段是副旋律，还是要帮钢琴伴奏，钢琴是主旋律 ，OK？ 所以我们需要去看整个画面。
Yeah, letter G. Can we start at letter G?
从 G 开始
If you need a couple pickups or something like that, that's fine. Whatever. Like the eighth note spot on.
从前面3个音开始，然后你到 G 前面3拍嘛，你进来的地方。
sorry.
Great. Ask them.
Yeah. 然后问题要问你，
Who has the melody?
是旋律，这刚才那段旋律是在谁在上面？在杜巴还是在 piano 上面？
Huh?
Tuba.
The piano. The piano is marked forte. What are you marked?
所以你看，刚才是写 forte， 然后杜巴写 mezzo forte。
Did you know that the piano has the solo at G?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you just decided to just to blow her out of the water. You're just like, I know she has the melody, but I would much rather. Okay. I would also say this: that unless you're in fact at the beginning of your developmental life as a tuba player, there is no situation where we are playing with a piano that is not on a full speed.
Oh, okay.
Our sounds are too big.
Yeah.
So we got to have the piano open. I very, very rarely have heard a tuba player need it to be this or down. Very rarely. Very rarely. It's usually, I wish I could just put a microphone in the piano, turn it up. It's not loud enough.
Yeah.
So if you could play twice as loud, like you have the song, like it's yours at G, all right? And you have, this really is a theme of variations, right? There's, like not literally, but it's like you have the song, and then pretty soon the song goes over here, and then pretty soon the song is in the left hand of the piano, and she's got some beautiful flowery stuff, and you have low flowery stuff, right? So let's make sure we're hearing the song all the time. So let's pick ups into G, and let's get the musical functions properly, right? Like a flute part,
Okay.
and the melodies over here.
Yeah. Shall I explain to them?
Please.
Yeah. 那个如果兔把的伴奏的话，他说尽量把那个钢琴给打开。如果说以后有那个，比如说 recital 或什么东西，记得钢琴要打开，因为兔把绝大部分都聋子，所以都听不到。这不是他讲的，是我讲的。对啊，所以就是说，因为旋律可以大声一点，这样比较听得到。这样，然后完了。所以这等一下你吹的时候，就是尽量去找它的旋律在哪一边，就是在里面对称一下 ，OK？ Yeah, OK.
Same place.
Yeah. G. 3 notes.
That's where you really take back over. And then a couple bars before that, it's kind of actually contrapuntal. She's got some stuff, you've got some stuff. It goes back and forth. But that's why we got to have the score.
Yep.
If you're looking at your solo, you're like, I'm playing a solo. It's like, no, you're playing an excerpt. It's the same as Fountains of Rome. It is. It's an excerpt. And by the way, if you're playing a big, huge sonata or a big, huge concerto, guess what? You just have one part. Then you have all the rest of them.
所以就是刚才的，就是说旋律的部分在钢琴上面，然后杜把尝试就是说去在中间做一些比较伴奏呢，甚至有时候它这边旋律好像会丢给杜把的地方，刚才有这样接起来的地方。所以即使像刚才讲说， 就是说我们在吹杜马的时候，对不对？有时候在乐团吹，比如说那个土瓦喷泉那一个，对不对？我们只是一个声音，可是我们要知道上面发生什么事情。Okay?
So this is starting to sound like it's supposed to at G. And if again, if you're sitting at home and you get the piece in the mail, you look at this, you're looking at all of the information. You would know right away, like, oh, I don't have to sell my soul to the devil at letter G. It's just the little flute part in the background. That all the Brahmsian stuff that's happening is in the piano.
Yeah.
So you would look through the very first time. How about letter I? Letter I. Who has the song at I?
Okay.
It's not you, right? Yeah, this is like straight up tuba part. Can we go 2 bars before I? 2 bars before I? And make sure that we can hear your pinky all the way down. Better, more musical, right? And now you're playing that part like it's a tuba part, like it belongs to that. You're supporting her. So again, it's one of those spots where we have one of those. We have one of those. How about the Von Williams? How about the end? E flat. That's not solo. That's orchestra tutti. Tuba players all over the world selling that like crazy. It's like, wait, you're never going to win. The whole orchestra is behind you. Sit in the back. All right. So it's really important to remember that, especially when we're playing tuba solos, because composers do this all the time. They're like solo, 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 bass part. Tuba part, tuba. Oh, I forgot solo. It happens in our music all the time. So it's really important that we distinguish them, because in the end, it's not a solo. This is a chamber music, right? So in that case, it's not like he copped out. It's like, oh man, he really recognized that it's not a solo, that it's this, right? And he's sharing the wealth back and forth. Okay. We have a better piece of music if we're looking at the score and recognizing that.
Yeah, OK. 好，这个段讲的，这就是说，我们真拿到曲子的时候，一定要去研究一下它到底是在干嘛。像刚才是讲的，主旋律在钢琴上面，它是最那个从右手的拉这样子，拉下来，咚。那我觉得这个旋律慢慢下来，那兔把就像它的一个伴奏在下面撑着它。所以你的旋律不能够只有吹出一个声音出来，必须要跟着这个 flow 一样。
Yeah. As she was phrasing it, and then can you play letter J for us?
J.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yes, and then same thing. Anytime there's an inner part, you got to bring that out. One more time, same thing. I would say it's not all soft, right? It's got little small phrases inside of the big phrase. Make them. It's going to change how you're going to play this. Great. Now make sure that you support that, right? So here we go. Letter J. Letter J.
你要听着钢琴的这个东西，然后帮它支撑着这样。
And again, you probably thought letter J was a solo part. But it's not. It's obligato.
Yeah.
And notice where the short notes are. The short notes are when she has a long note. Bum, 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 da, bum, 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 bim, bum, ba, da, bum, bum, bim, go, bum. That's the music at J. Let's play J. Great. Let's go back now. Let's go back. Now, can you also do this for me, Richard? So in line with this, in jazz music, we often will look at a phrase and we'll say first, highest, last. And that's where we want to make the phrase go. Where does it start? Where's the highest point of the phrase? Literally the highest point of the phrase, and where's the last? Especially when it's obligato. So look at that. So can you start to bring out the highest note of the phrase, each one of those little sub-phrases, and just a little bit too long. But inside of the time, don't interrupt the time. The time should go forward, but a little bit of pull back on the highest note of each one of those. Let's do it again. Tiny amount.
Yep. 一点点，然后拍子要准时一点。
Do it again. Make it easy to follow you. Conduct her, but not with your arms.
Yeah. Okay.
With your breath. Here, watch. Ready?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. 用吸气。
Don't have to see but you make it. If you want your accompanist, your collaborator to feel confident, make it easy. Signal. Make it easy to follow you. Right?
Easy. Okay.
Same thing now. Highest. And I would say that's the moment too, like you can be the solo there. You can be the solo, or maybe duo.
Yeah.
But until then, it's in the background. And what you're gonna now have to start doing is listening to how she's phrasing all that and phrase your notes to it. Just like we would, any good accompanist would phrase to the solo, right? So we have to make sure that we're phrasing to the solo. This is so much better. You get it, you're a good musician.
Yeah.
So as soon as you're incentivized or you allow you recognize that that's what's going on. In other words, that's the same. Like there's a crossfade in the Ellerby tuba concerto where there's that's the long descending whole note line in the Ellerby, and the orchestra's coming up, piano's coming up, and every time I've done the first time, I stop now. I just tell the pianist in front, like, hey, that's a crossfade there. You have the melody 5 before that letter. And they're like, oh, cool, and they just take over. And I said, I'm going to tuck it in. I'm going to cross. I'm going to go away. But if you don't have those ideas, then a collaborator is always going to assume that everything that you have is supposed to be the most prominent thing, right? Even if they might even recognize, like, this seems like a compliment here. They're not going to say anything, right? It's our job to have looked at the whole score, and then to sit down at the first rehearsal and go, letter G is yours. Letter J, I'm following you. Blah, 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 blah. So that right from before we play one note, we're establishing some chamber music things where it's like, there's a couple places in this piece I don't want you to follow me. I want to follow you. So that's why look at the score,
OK，
learn it from the score, memorize it from the score, and never look at the solo part because it's an excerpt. It's not all the information is not there unless it's a fantasia, unless it's a solo piece.
OK，这样。
Yeah, please.
Yeah， 最主要重点就是说，当你拿到一首曲子的时候，不管是是跟钢琴的曲子或者什么样的曲子，你一定要去研究它全部的，不管总谱或者说整个画面，然后你要跟你的伴奏一起去讨论。比如说这一段 G 可能是钢琴的，我听钢琴的，然后我的旋律在下面衬着它，然后也许你可以讨论一些东西，让这一段让你要表演的音乐变得很精彩，而不是只有就是我单吹我的 solo， 就是一个配合这样，然后可以讨论这样 ，OK？
We have an obligato in the Barnes, the second movement of the Barnes tuba concerto.
Yeah.
In the storyteller recording that I have out, it's the same thing. There's a whole spot in the middle where it's like dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da da dee 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 dee, and everybody plays it like this huge thing. It's like it's a flute part in the background.
Okay.
And the rest of it has that. Jim plays the tuba, and he wrote a piece for us, and he still put tuba parts in it.
Okay.
But this happens. This is what I mean. It's like. You have there. I mean, there's spots like that. There's a couple. I just did Demondre Thurman. We did Pantomime in November, and I conducted Demondre. There's a whole bunch of spots in Pantomime that are actually not the song anymore, where the band takes over and the euphonium is tailing off. So know the function of every note in the piece, and if it's not the solo, make sure that you're incentivizing the chamber musicians that you're playing with to own it.
我刚才举的例子就是说，像。刚才有很多曲子，叮当当当当当当当叮的那个可能乐团吹的，那上次他的一方面的他的朋友吧，他可能就是说那一段他可以做小声一点，然后其他的声音这样慢慢上来。那同样的也有好多的片段啊，意思就是说可能就是说你可以去研究怎么让它变成一个 chamber music， 就是说室内乐，而不是只有单吹我自己的声音，你要知道上面发生了哪一些事情，这样 ，OK。
Cool. So now let's take all that information we had from before and let's go to the top of the piece. Top of the piece.
所以就是它的主旋律，然后怎么去 balance 那从头来。
Yep. And then the thing to remember as a tuba player is that if we do have the song and it isn't accompaniment, that we can play softer than every other instrument. And if we're supposed to be the melody and all of a sudden we're playing, how's a piano player supposed to get below that? So I would say that the top. I would say mezzo piano.
Yeah.
With microdynamics up and down. And what I would ask from my collaborator would be that instead of tuba piano, that it's more like tuba piano, like the piano's hugging the tuba. So right up underneath.
Oh, okay.
Very close, not far away.
Yeah.
Don't be so polite.
I think that will explain that. Okay.
Yeah,
那
please.
第一个小节的哈，这就是钢琴是3个声音，它上面写的是 piano， 然后 tuba 这边也是 piano， 好，所以像这一段要解决音乐上的问题的话，可能就是 tuba 可以变成mezzo piano， 要比较清楚的给一些拍子啊，然后可以做一个法夹渐强渐弱，然后可能要跟钢琴，假如说我这一段音乐，因为它主旋律都在它上面，所以是不是要吹的要弹的在。就是把tuba包起来，哈，基本上就是以你为主这样。那我们这个声音可能就稍微大声一点点这样。OK，
Cool. Let's start at the top. There's a great example. Can we go straight on right here, right on the 8th note run?
从那个第二行的倒数2小节。
A great example of just spending a little bit of time on the highest note of this phrase.
然后是最高音的那个地方。
God damn it! All right, one more time. I was gonna be like, hey man, we gotta get the thing, but I know for sure 100% on that horn, on my horn, we're never gonna get to where the pitch of that piano is. Like I'm sitting there like, oh, we're gonna talk about pitch next, and I played with it, and I was like, oh, no, I'm not gonna get there. So what do you do? In other words, like if I can't go too far in, I can't go too far out. Which way would you? What are you gonna do? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. I can tell you what I do a lot of times. You know, want to know what's in my gig bag in there? A piano wrench. I've played gigs where I show up and I'm like, I can't play a tune with this piano. And I go and I get my thing and I start tuning the piano. Because I can't play with it. Okay, so this is very difficult. You're not in a situation where we can get much further off. That thing is sagged crazy flat. So I don't want to spend too much time on something like that. But that's where we would want to go. Also, if you're going to change dynamics, don't give the answer away too soon. So bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you want the pianissimo to be dramatic, you have to do something on the note before it. Can we start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th bar?
Okay.
Bar 5. This is what you did. You went like this. And it didn't have any dramatic effect like he actually wrote. Understand?
Yeah.
Here's the other part about this. And how am I supposed to know this? That Roland did a bad job at his dynamics and that Derek Bourgeois traditionally is a very good editor. You don't until you have more experience. I'm telling you now, Derek Bourgeois is a great editor. He puts an enormous amount of information into his music. So most of the time, you can trust what he's done. Or even go further with what he's given you because he's really thought about what he's put on the page.
Translate this? Yes, sure.
Mm-hmm.
You don't offense the Roland.
No. Okay.
Yeah. 所以他刚才讲的那个第二位吹的是那个 Roland 曲子，他改的哈。那跟这位是 Bourgeois 的曲子。你如果吹过很多的作品以后，你就可以了解到那个 Roland 改的，他是一个很厉害的 tuba player， 可是他改的是他自己写的，他自己想这样，他可以做得到，可是未必我们自己吹的时候可以这样，所以你可以做一些自己的东西，可以相较之下，那个 Bourgeois 的东西就比较成熟，所以他学的旋律线啦，还有那个感觉啦，还有那个画面的东西是比 Roland 还要再前进，你就可以慢慢吹很多曲子，你就可以有这样的想法，这样也会感觉得到这样。
Okay, and then I think like you'll get a lot out of our next class, but you're the anomaly in Taiwan, right? There's like the tall Taiwanese human being. So all of your chairs are just like I am. Like I'm day 7 in Taiwan and my back is so out because every chair is too short. The whole country is too low. the whole country. So, and you're like, yeah, I know. I've lived here my whole life. So make sure that when you're getting yourself into a place with a chair that you can get a place where you can get your legs to go below you because you're tall, right? So this way or this way or this way. And I get it. Let me have the tuba for a second. And it's the same with this, like for me, this is another one. Which year is 3? Oh, yeah, I took this is, oh yeah, I didn't design this one. Okay, 2, 7, 3, 4. Yeah, this is German. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So it's pretty close to the right height for me on both my legs, but if I needed it to go to the right place,
Oh, okay.
which is what I do with this, because it's too short. All right. So that's the other side of it. But we're like probably a similar height. So the chairs, and this is the taller of the chairs in the room. So just make sure you're trying to get to a place where this will come to you rather than any sort of go to it. Okay.
这个懂哈，这个就是说刚才讲的第一个问题就是那个坐姿的问题，所以它刚才的他们两个一样高嘛，所以椅子通常是比较低一点点。那如果拿过来的时候，对不对？发现要调整位置，有时候是一个角度的问题，所以可能是你的右脚往下，然后左脚往上，这样可以去调整你的那个，就是让你的位置是对的，这样。OK。
Beautiful. I think we have a little bit of a break now.
Yeah, right.
So thank you, all three of you, for the beautiful music and for bringing this beautiful musician as well.